Welcome back to the Ramblin' Railroad here on Railroads Online. In this video, we're going to be running some trains. Before we do that, we got a little bit to talk about, some housekeeping stuff. You can see down here I'm at the Smelter station. And I got Maverick down here. He was running some of these cordwood cars. I did purchase some more of them. And I got the smelter all nice and filled up. Before we get into the railroad, actually, I did get a new keyboard and mouse. So if you see things kind of jerky or if you hear the clicks of the keyboard, that's because I just got it installed. I'm still not quite used to things. And I did get a mechanical keyboard. I do like the way it feels, but it is a little clicky, even though it's the quiet switches. I got the HyperX keyboard. So, and the mouse is a Razer, just like the one that died. So, and that's why I had to get a new mouse and keyboard. The mouse that I was using was another Razer, but it was about 14 years old, and it finally died. And the keyboard was an old Microsoft, piece of crap keyboard that came with a computer I bought probably years ago. And it was a wireless keyboard, which is nice, but I was using it so much to play games that the W key, I had to push really hard in order to get it to register. So I decided just to replace both the keyboard and mouse when the keyboard or when the mouse actually died, which was right after editing the last video. So I finally got the new one in today, and it's here and it's great and awesome. Here we got no iron ore, so we're going to be bringing down some iron ore today. We got 100 cordwood. There we go, 100 cordwood. I did push this back a little bit. Someone suggested that I do that, and I can get 4 cars in here, and I can, but in order to do it, I actually need to drive in forward with Stout pushing up against this, and I can get 4 cars unloaded here. Not all at the same time. I can only do 3, but then I just pull forward and get the 4th one. So, and that's just makes it simple. I can back in, but I have to go way out there to that switch, way off in the distance, and it just takes longer to do it that way. So let's check out what else we got here. We still have 100 of these, I believe. Yep, 100 raw iron, and I don't think we're quite full up. We ran out of iron ore of the rails. So I did make some other changes too, notably up at the logging camp. We're gonna head up there just because I want to show it to you, and we got plenty of stuff to do today. Today we're also going to be answering your questions. That's right, this is going to be the Q&A show that I've been talking about and asking for questions for a few weeks now. I got a bunch of questions, some questions, some comments that I'll be covering. So let's see. First off, we need more cordwood. So we got over here, let's take a look at what we got. We got over here, we got a bunch of empty cordwood cars hooked up to Stout because he was unloading them. We got the extra ones right there, and I did make enough money to running logs and running cordwood to actually purchase 3 more of these hopper cars. So I got the iron ore mine all nice and topped up as well. I think we're just shy of a couple of lumber up there, but everything else is pretty much full. So we're gonna be running up there today. And then I brought down a whole load of beams. They're currently hooked up to Beast. I just got them down from the sawmill. So we'll be using Beast to pull the train up to the coal mine to get a load of ore. But, that's probably enough cordwood. But I really want to show you guys the sawmill. So we're going to head up there. And as we head up there, we're going to take a look at our first question. And before we do that, though, we need to get Stout out of the way. All right, so we'll just hit the F key here. Back out a little bit. We'll go brake off, reverse or forward. We're going to put him onto this little loop right here, just to get him out of the way. We're going to go past this switch right here. We'll apply the brakes. Right there. Pop out. Flip this switch. Brake off. I was having a hard time with the regulator in this. It wasn't responding when I was in this view. Just give it a little bit just to get it out of the way. I just want to park it maybe right over here on this curve. Again, just to get it out of the way. Alright, we'll apply the brake right there. Come back and flip this switch. I do use that tool for doing a lot of these switching duties and that sort of thing, and it works very well. I just have to remember to actually use it instead of just assuming that the rail lines are correct. We'll flip that one, and then we have to flip this one. And sometimes it's easier just to run, like when they're really close together like this, just to run out here and do it really quick. All right, let's get in and warm up Maverick here. You notice I was able to fix, somebody left a comment, it was very good to use the online mapper tool website to actually fix the name of the locomotive. So I actually had a couple of cars that I messed up on as well. So I used that tool to fix them all up. Should have enough steam just to, just to get moving here. Hopefully it'll build some steam while we get things hooked up. Get up some speed. Not too much. And run. So I don't know how these are linked. All right. Yeah, we're gonna need a link in here. I like to jump on the back. Ooh, that's coming in fast. Okay, here we go. Bang. Link it. Run up here. Hit the brakes. Okay, we did come to a stop. I don't know how far back it is. It's gonna derail the back of this train. So I'm pretty good about setting brakes. Yeah, these are all set, I believe. We'll start back here and work our way forward. And just like that, we're set to go. All the switches, I believe, are correct. We're going to find out, because we might derail. We'll go into this view here. All right, so while we're getting out of here, we're going to talk about really quick about how this Q&A show is going to go. I kind of wanted to do a live stream show, but I don't have the internet to do a live stream. So in lieu of that, I asked you guys to submit questions and that I would answer them. So I'm going to do my very best to do minimal editing, but I do need to minimize the game to see the questions, to read them. I do have two monitors. And I got the questions already lined up over there. I just have to switch back and forth between the monitors. So if you see some editing, some jump cuts and that sort of thing, that's what it is. I'm just looking at the question. All right, so with that said, let's jump to our first question. First question comes from John Fox. He says, these locomotives are more on the Civil War era, being as the standard gauge is 3 foot, which is more commonly used by the Confederate. Standard rail gauge is 4 foot or 4 foot 6 inches. One of the two. At least I think it was a 3 foot for the Confederate, cause I remember reading about how the North couldn't bring supply trains to the South due to different rail gauges. So this is actually something I know quite a bit about. However, we got some terminology kind of mixed up. Oh, we need to speed up a little bit here. We're chuffing down. So first off, the standard gauge is actually a 4 foot 8.5 inches, and that's what it's always been for standard gauge. Narrow gauge is 3 foot, but the Confederacy actually used what's called the broad gauge, and broad gauge is actually a 5 foot rail. And the reason why they chose that was I don't want to say it was the standard at the time, but it was easier to make a 5 foot gauge than a 4 foot 8.5 inch gauge. And you got bigger, wider cars that could haul more cargo per car. The cars were actually shorter as well. So the problem that they had, though, in the South especially, was that the rail system wasn't that big. It wasn't very diverse. And the rails would go from the harbors into town kind of a thing, or to towns. And there was no real standard as far as what people or what rail companies could make as far as the the gauge. So most of the Confederate states, they did have the wide gauge, the 5-foot gauge, but sometimes it would go down to the standard gauge, especially if it was running up north, which up north was mostly standard gauge. The problem that the North ran into was the lack of rail lines connecting anything. And because the Confederates, as they would retreat, they would actually damage their own rail system, blow up their own locomotives and that sort of thing. And then, of course, we had Sherman's march through the South, and they did the Sherman neckties and stuff where they would actually take the Confederate rail, heat it up, and bend them around trees. So it was kind of their own undoing. Now, the South did capture several wide gauge locomotives and were able to use them to some degree. But yeah, as far as bringing down the standard gauge locomotives and cars to the South, that wasn't a good practice. So the other issue that the South had with their railroad at the time was that they would bring in, cargo off the ships on their wide gauge, and then they'd have to offload them, move them literally across, like from here to here kind of a thing, by animal, and re-rail basically the cars onto a different gauge. Now moving, that was, on the seaboard, of course, on the eastern seaside. The Confederacy, they also ran into a lot of issues because they didn't really produce the rail or the locomotives. They all relied on industry in the north to do all that kind of stuff. And of course, the northern industries were not going to supply the South. So mix that with wood being the primary source of fuel for the South. And they conscripted, or a lot of volunteers were a part of the Confederate Army. And so they left their jobs, and there was a huge supply chain shortage, just like we have now for fuel and for other raw materials. Think of like a 20-year-old guy that all he does is split wood for the railroad. Now he's off fighting in a distant land, or in a neighboring state or something like that, fighting the Civil War. Well, who's going to chop the wood? So the railroads weren't really all that widely used. I think I just messed up. We need to stop. I wasn't paying attention. I was wanting to take this track over to our right. So we need to back up. It would appear that I missed a switch. That's what I'm talking about. So I actually have derailed several times for not paying attention, and usually it's when I'm coming back the other way, like I'd be on this track and I'd not see that this was the wrong way. I'd hit the switch going the wrong way and derail. So we'll just come past it here and hit the brakes. There we go. Now we should be set. All right, let's get back on the road. Let's check our fuel. We should be good, but oh yeah, we got plenty. All right, brake off, reverser forward. Let's give it about half or so. All right, so back to the Civil War and the railroads. This all assumes, these were all on the eastern seaboard, right? Because everything west wasn't really developed yet as far as having rail. There was some rail. And as you go further west, it seemed like the less standard things were. Past the Mississippi, you as a railroad owner-operator could basically make up anything you wanted. And you can order locomotives in pretty much any gauge that you wanted, minus like something really weird. Like if you wanted a narrow gauge locomotive, you could order from Baldwin, a narrow gauge railroad. Or locomotive, and cars. You can do a standard gauge. It was literally the Wild West when it came to anything standard in the West. So of course we use the narrow gauge now in the West and the mountains because it's cheap, it's easy to lay down, it's great for stability on these smaller locomotives and trains that snake their way through the valleys and mountains of the Rockies. But it wasn't until all the major players in the railroads back east and mostly up north that they decided to standardize on the what we now know as the standard gauge, which of course again is the 4-foot 8.5-inch rail track. So that's just a quick little history lesson as we get up here to the wide gauge. Broad gauge, by the way, is no longer in use pretty much anywhere, but so anyway, somebody's going to show me an example of where it is, but that's fine. So here we are. This is where I started working on the logging camp. And as you can see, our old track went this way. Our new track goes straight ahead here. And we climb over here. Now, I don't know which way this first switch is angled. We do have one switch up here. You can see I made our loop on this side out of bridge material. We come up here through this little cut. This is 3%. And it looks like we're gonna cut to the left right away, which is fine. So this first curve here is a 25-degree curve, and our second one is a 15-degree curve. We're gonna slow down just a little bit. A little more than that. And this, of course, is all flat up here. So I did this because when I started running up here with Maverick to get some cordwood, I actually derailed, and I'll post some pictures of that coming up here real soon as we get around to the cordwood side. And that's kind of prompted me quickly to do this. I knocked this out in about an hour and a half, and I didn't film any of it because I was just like, well, crap, I got to get this done so I can continue to run some cordwood to get ready for this show. So I kind of racked my brain and thought about some things and did some experimentation, and this is what I came up with. So this is a 15-degree curve on this loop here. I'm gonna get off the regulator here because we got to come up to a stop to get some cordwood. And it's much nicer now. There's no risk of derailment. And I can actually come through here quite quick. So this is nice and straight now, and it's perfectly aligned. Everything looks great. I really do like this new loop and access into the lumber camp here. So I'm going to get stopped here, and we'll get these cars loaded up. All right, let's take a look at these images. This is just the second derailment. The first time I just re-railed everything and filled it all up and made my run. The second time I came up here is where these images actually come from. And I derailed pretty hard and I got pretty upset. And that's when I decided just to demolish all the track and start over as far as getting up here. That original track was some of the first track that I ever laid in this game. I mean, I came from the freight depot straight here, so yeah, that's was in dire need of replacement. All right, so I'm just gonna get these loaded up here. We're not quite lined up, but that's all right. I think it'll work. I'll get these loaded up and I'll bring you back and we'll start looking at other questions. All right, this should be our last little bit here. Shorter train than I've been running. Like I said, we got 4 cars left back at the smelter station. All right. Let me jump down here and we'll hit the save button really quick. So that first question comment was pretty long, and I do apologize for that. I'll try to keep these rest of these short. But that one I did actually respond back and said I would talk about it in an upcoming episode. Of course, that was a long time ago, and I haven't done so yet, anticipating this episode. You can find this entire map at the website that I have put in the description below. You can download it and play here yourself, or come in here and see how I did things. Pretty straightforward, pretty basic. So, all right. So now we'll go break off, reverser forward, start going here. And as we're heading back, we'll take a look at the next couple of questions. All right, we got the switches all set. We're ready to go. All right, so the next question, or comment, I guess, comes from Dominic Irla, something like that. Anyway, if I butcher your name, I do apologize. Some of these are kind of hard to read sometimes. He says, cool vid. Would recommend cutting it down to 15 to 20 minutes. Easier to consume and recommended by YouTube as more... recommended by YouTube, more as a heads up. While I do appreciate that, I know, and I don't like watching hour-long videos myself, it's really difficult to make any kind of meaningful gameplay, in my opinion, that short. So what do I mean by that? So I can spend, a couple hours playing this game and edit it down to 20 minutes, but you're not going to get the content I feel that you might want to consume, at least for me. When I watch YouTube, yeah, I do like the shorter videos, the straight to the point kind of videos. But when I'm watching like gameplay videos, I kind of wish I would, there'd be more to it and I'd get more context and see more instead of just a bunch of fancy transitions and 20-minute long intros. So I do wish I could keep it down shorter, but I feel like I'd be robbing you of what I enjoy. So moving on to our next question. This one comes from Ryan Drawn. I guess, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. He says, I do have a couple of questions. First of all, if you are one of the developers of this game, when are they going to install the third truck, Climax, Heisler, Shay? So obviously we have the Climax and the Heisler, and the Shay was kind of the third. It was actually, I believe, the first gear-driven locomotive for this time period in this kind of climate. And from what I understand, the developers are not planning on introducing the Shay. I could be, like I said, I reserve the right to be wrong on that one. I could be very wrong on that. But I do believe that the developers are not going to be introducing the Shay anytime soon, if ever. So, and of course, I am not a developer. I have spoken with the developers on Discord, and that's about all I know. So, yeah, I'm definitely not a developer. All right, so next question. This one comes from Steve MCHS. He says, I have to ask, what are your graphics settings? I mean, I have a PC that can handle anything, and even with everything on Epic, it still doesn't look this good. Well, my graphics settings will just, we'll come to a stop here and take a look at the graphics settings. Oh, I got to get out of this menu. All right. So we'll come in here to the options and go to graphics. And as you can see, there's all of my graphics settings right there. But what I'm running this computer on, all right, let's get going here and I'll talk about my computer settings. There we go. All right, so the processor, I built this computer back in 2010, if my memory is correct. Oftentimes my memory is not correct, so, take it for a grain of salt. It's an Alien Gear giant desktop computer that I built in 2010, and I don't remember the motherboard, but I do have the Intel Core i7. It's a 975 at 3.33 gigahertz. I have 12 gigabytes of RAM. Again, I don't remember what RAM is in it or anything like that. And I have and for the graphics card, it took me a second to find it because I forgot. I had a brain fart and forgot what graphics card I have in it. I have the NVIDIA. I have the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080. So it's kind of old, but it's still pretty good. I am looking at getting into VR. I really would like to do some VR gaming. This game would be amazing in VR. But, you know, until then, we're just going to live with what we got. And I do want to build what I was getting at. I do want to build a new computer. I think that would be just fantastic to have a newer gaming computer. This one being 12 years old, it's a grandpa by today's standards now, it seems like. So, but it still functions very good. I did just get the HyperX, something, I forget the model number of the, well, actually I got it right here. I got the Elite 2, the HyperX Elite 2 keyboard, and I did get the Razer Death Adder V2 mouse. So it's very similar to the mouse that I had, which I'm not even sure what that was. It was a Razer. This one looks and feels similar, so it's similar. All right, next question. I think we can get one more in. This one comes from Alan Jones. He says, question, what can we expect going forward with your channel and with this game? Are you planning on doing multiplayer? So I get this question actually quite a bit. And the answer is, for the multiplayer part, no, I cannot do multiplayer, not until I get better internet service. I live way out in the country, and I have satellite internet, which is what I've been using to upload, but the ping time, the latency is so long. It's actually measured in seconds, not milliseconds. So I can't do multiplayer gaming. Unfortunately, I really wish I could. But until I get something like Starlink, which I'm signed up for, I've been signed up for since beta. I actually signed up for beta, but it was one of those first come, first serve things, and seemed like I can never get it. My neighbor right down the road from me has it, and he loves it, and I really wish I could steal it from him, but I just have to wait my turn. I have paid the deposit fee for it. I just need to get it. So when I have it, maybe then I can do multiplayer and actually do live streams, which would be just fantastic. So to answer the second part of the question, or the first part rather, what can we expect going forward with the channel with this game? Well, going forward, you know, I'm still trucking along here. We do need to reach the rest of the industries and, you know, bring materials down. I do like bringing down a lot of materials. Obviously, I like filling up the industries and, you know, hauling massive amounts and that sort of thing. I think it's fun, but I try to be as realistic as possible with that. You know, we're not going to be doing mega trains and, you know, doing like 50 cars and that sort of thing. I'm trying to keep it at a maximum of 12 car lengths, but I do like to fill up the industries. I don't think we're ever going to get enough iron ore to fill up the smelter, but like, I like bringing in enough, you know, materials that we can haul out a full train load or something like that. I do want to expand this rail yard in here, and we can start stockpiling some of the materials onto these cars. I think that would be just wonderful and fantastic. We might be bringing down some coal. I don't think we're going to get there today just because we don't have the coal cars for it, or the hopper cars for it. So, but that's kind of it going forward. You know, we're still playing. I'm still trying to put out a couple of videos. Somebody did ask me, it wasn't a question for the show, they did ask me if I can commit to a regular filming schedule, and the answer to that is no, I cannot. I looked for that question in all the comments. I couldn't find it, but I remember it being posted. So if you do post a question like that, you know, don't delete it. Yeah, I mean, well, if you can, it's your comment. You can delete it. You can do whatever you want. But if you delete it, then I'm not gonna be able to see it. And if I can't see it, then I can't answer it. But to answer that one really quick, I can't commit to a regular filming schedule simply because I do have a life outside of the game, and I do have other projects and that sort of thing. With my internet being sketchy, you know, sometimes it'll take me a couple of days to upload a really long video. We're just gonna pull down into this lane here. We got the rest of these cars in front. We're gonna be trapping Maverick in here. I got to figure out something to do with cabooses. We're not really using cabooses much anymore, unfortunately. I would like to maybe build some more lanes in here somehow, some way. and we can store them. But for now, we're just going to park it right here. Hopefully it stops in time. If we bump it, we bump it. I don't think it's going to derail it. Yeah, those brakes are all set, I think. All right. We're far enough off the track there. Okay, so now we need to get Beast and the iron ore cars here, these hopper cars, up to the iron ore mine. So we need to unhook this one. Of course, make sure the brakes are all set, which we're just going to be setting the first couple here. Make sure he's got some wood, get him warmed up. There we go, that should be enough. Then we're going to run over here and get Stout and configure this train that's going to be destined for the iron ore mine, which is just going to be the iron ore hoppers. I really do like using Stout and this rail yard to put together trains and disassemble them and that sort of thing. It is really fun. It's kind of a challenge sometimes to try and figure out, you know, how to do it, especially with the limited amount of space that we have. And, you know, like bringing in those cordwood cars, it took a lot to figure out how to get them in there just right. And I need to run ahead really fast to see if this has got a switch in it, make sure the brakes are set before this locomotive slams into it. That one's set. This one should be set. It is. All right. Bang. There it is. All right. Go forward. Brake off. We'll give it just a little bit of tension as we turn off the brakes. Give it a little more. We got some wheel slip going on here? What's going on? These aren't that heavy. Come on, Stout. I got boiler pressure. I leave a brake. Oh, brake's on. Oh, gosh. Let's see, get into this view. Gotta clear, get on the main line here. We gotta clear this switch. These hopper cars are very heavy, even unloaded, but they do carry a lot of inertia because of that weight. They just seem to want to coast for a long time, as long as you're not like in a curve or anything like that. And we are coming in really hot, and I don't know if that switch is switched. Probably not, so we're gonna go ahead and brake. We don't want to smack into them really, really hard. No, I'll go brake off there. Oh, there's no brake. Okay, we're set. Set. We're set. Okay. Just didn't want to push it into that switch and then, oh, realize that we derailed the last couple of cars or something. I'll go brake off that one. All right, we'll get this train over here on the outbound side. These should be nice and warm. We'll come over and hook up to it, and we'll head on out of here. Ooh, that hit hard. All right. Take the brakes off these first two cars. I think all the rest of our switches are set correctly. Let's head on up to the iron ore mine. I think all of our switches are set. All right, as we get out of the smelter station here, Let's answer another question. This one comes from N-Ames, N-A-M-E-S. Question, do you play other types of games? What kind? Will you be showing those games, or is this channel a dedicated channel to Railroads Online? So to answer this question, I'm going to take a look at my Steam channel, or my Steam page over here on my other screen. So the audio might cut out a little bit here as I'm looking at it. So I currently have Railroads Online. I have American Railroads that came with Railroads Online. I have Cool Waters. I have all the farming simulators. Fishing Barents Sea, Sid Meier's Civilization 5 and 6, Silent Hunter 5. I actually have Silent Hunter 2 through 5. I have Train Simulator and U-Boat. And my wish list, I'm going to head over there really fast. Wait for that to load up a little bit. Someone recommended that I play Derail Valley. I also have on my wish list Hold Fast, Nations at War, Valheim, Ultimate Admiral, Dreadnoughts rather. Ranch Simulator, another game called Ready or Not. I have Icarus and SnowRunner. So these cars are really heavy. We can only pull 5 up to 4%. With the calculator I've been doing, I'll get back to that question in just a second, by the way. With the calculator, I've been doing 4% instead of 3% because that last run, I believe, up to the coal mine, it was a very small, slight margin of error, I guess, for lack of a better term. It was like 3%. Was what I had to spare, and that's not enough for a curvy track. There's no such thing really as a completely straight track. So if I set the calculator to 4%, knowing that some of the bridges are probably 4%, but with the curves and everything being 3%, if it says true, chances are I can pull it, and so far that's remained true. And this one is like, I can pull this up a 4% straight track, unloaded, with Beast, with like 27% to spare. So we should be plenty strong enough pulling unloaded cars all the way up there, even at 6%, which is what I think we're going to be running into. I think I calculated that right. Come to think of it, maybe I didn't. We're going to find out. So anyway, going back to that question about what other types of games do I play, I like to play historical games. Sometimes, it depends on what I'm in the mood for, right? I love Skyrim. I've been playing the Elder Scrolls series since Morrowind. I've played all sorts of games in my life, but I do like the historical accuracy or accurate one games, kind of like this one. I do like the open world sandbox games where I can kind of make my own world. I like Silent Hunter. I'm really into World War II history. Especially naval warfare during World War II. And of course I play those as realistic as I can there as well. And so yeah, those are the kind of games I like to play. If you have any recommendations for me that you would like to see on this channel especially, let me know in the comments below, because I am looking always for games. I do tend to only play one game at a time, and I play it until I'm done playing it, and then I kind of put it away. And then maybe I come back to it, and who knows when that maybe will be, right? It could be 5 years from now, it could be 3 months from now, I don't know. I do play some games from my childhood, like Civilizations 3, for example, that I still like to pick up and play every once in a while. Medieval 2 Total War is another one that I love to play just because it's nostalgic for me. So those are the kind of games I like to play. Again, if you have any recommendations, I'd love to hear it. Let's take another question. This question comes from Carrie Magum. Question: how much time do you put into the game? How many hours per day or days per week? So that's kind of a hard question to answer, and I believe I kind of I'll kind of talk about it a little bit coming up in more questions. But I do have a toddler son. My wife is pregnant with our second child, and so it really depends. I have a full-time job, and I try to play at night. And it's not every night, because some nights I just simply go to bed, or I have other projects to work on. But to get to the answer that you're looking for, I would say I play about 3 or 4 hours each night, but that's not every night. Sometimes it's only a couple of days a week. Sometimes it's every day a week. If it's a weekend and I have some time where it's like storming outside and I don't want to be outside or something like that, and the kid is down for a nap, I'll play in the middle of the day. That's kind of what's happening right now, actually. The kiddo is down for a nap, and it's a nice day outside, but I feel like I need to get this out. So I get it out there. So thanks for the question. Let's take another one. This question comes from Captain Chaos 66. Question: I have yet to see a video from any of the railroad online players that I follow attempting a dual locomotive run. Would you want to try that? If I loco pulls a certain amount, 2 engines should pull twice that amount. I would try it myself, but I just bought the game the other day and haven't had the chance to play it separately. Keep up the great vids. Absolutely enjoy watching them. Well, thank you very much, Captain Chaos. To answer the question, no, I haven't tried it yet. Yes, I know you can do it. And single player, I would use that mini-map tool to do so. It has a linking feature, and I might do that in the future. I haven't really played around with it yet. Again, that would be great for multiplayer in this game. To have somebody running the front engine and somebody else in the rear locomotive up front pulling a long train. I think that'd be fantastic. But being that we are a single player only, I think we slowed down a little too much there. Being that we're single player only, I'm going to use that mini map tool if we ever do it. I don't know if we will do it. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I'm not sure yet. But stay tuned, keep watching, because there's a good chance that I will, just for fun, just to see if we can do it, playing around, that sort of thing. So, good question. Let's move on to the next one. Question. This one comes from Rap Creeper Productions. Question. What place will you build to next? I believe this one came out... we're looking down. I believe this question came before we got to the coal mine, and when I saw it come in, I'm like, well, we're going to go to the coal mine. I've been talking about it for a while now. But now that we've reached the coal mine, I believe we have to go to the ironworks. And from the ironworks, probably the oil field, and from the oil field, probably to the refinery. So that's where we're going to next. I think I want to build another rail yard and expand the other rail yard that we have at the smelter station. And then we're going to get down to the ironworks, because we have a lot of raw iron at the smelter that we need to get moving here. So this is going to tell me right now if I calculated this right or not. We got a lot of weight here just in empty cars, and this is a 6% climb. I said this is a downhill only. That was before I decided to start making just dedicated iron ore runs. So far, so good. Now I got some curves in here. We are at a full 100% regulator, and hopefully I can do it. Yeah, I think we're okay. Maybe I did calculate it correctly. All right, yeah, no problems at all. All right, we're gonna actually back off here a little bit, because the rest of this is kind of downhill. We got a little bit of a climb, but not bad. Let's take another question. This one is from N Ames, or Names, or whatever that is. I do apologize again. There's been several people that have posted lots of different questions, and I do appreciate that. So you might see the same person in here multiple times. I believe we've already answered a question from this individual. Speed up a little bit here. It says, question. You mentioned your Steam name is Evil 1 or something. Why? And have you considered changing it to Ramblin' Road or changing the channel name to Evil Something Games? Just be less confusing, maybe. Well, again, thanks for the question. So Evil 1 is actually a riff on my call sign that I had while I was in the military. I served in a combat role in the United States Marine Corps, and my call sign was Avenger 1. And we started playing games way back in the day when I got out with the Marines I served with, and we played like Call of Duty and that sort of thing. And we all wanted to use our same call sign. Now, the way it works in the military is your entire platoon would be an Avenger 1. So we all can't be Avenger 1. So I made up my own, and I called it myself Evil 1 because I'm kind of evil sometimes, especially in a combat style game. So it just kind of stuck, and that was my gamer tag all the way back from like 2005. So I've been Evil 1 for a long time. As far as changing the Steam name or changing the channel name, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, because I kind of have been kicking around that idea of changing the channel name from Ramblin' Road to... Oh, not that one. We want to break. To like Evil 1 Gaming or something like that. Just because yeah, it is kind of confusing. When I decided to start making some footage of this game, I never thought about using Evil 1. In fact, I wasn't considering it at all. I was looked up at a poster when I was trying to come up with the name of my railroad, and I saw a poster that said Ramblin' Road, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I named my railroad Ramblin' Road, and then I decided to start, filming it and putting it on YouTube. So I named my YouTube channel Ramblin' Road. So what do you guys think? Should we change it to Evil 1 Games, or should I change my Steam ID to Ramblin' Road? Let me know. All right, let's get this filled up with some iron ore. Let's see. First, let's take a look really quick. We got 290 iron ore here at the iron ore mine. We have 26 out of 50 lumber, and we should be full up on beams. I was running just dedicated beams and lumber up here, and I was using the turntable to actually turn around the locomotive, which we will be doing today. And that seemed to work quite well, and I was able to get like 3 or 4 runs up here to fill it up. So, all right, let's cut here, and we'll get this filled up. All right, we just got it filled up. I think I went 1 over, because I was actually watching this counter, and it started climbing up as soon as I started taking ore out. And the mine started producing, because we have materials here for it. I wasn't able to use that as a counter, but we got them all filled up. So now what we're going to do is disconnect, but we need to set some brakes here. I might go ahead and just set them all. No, there's no brakes on that one. There we go. Put a link in there just for fun. Come around over here and unhook Beast from the train. Go break off. We're gonna go up right past this switch right there. Now I've done this going the other way a few times now, like I said when I was running the wood products up here. I have not done this going this way, though it shouldn't be any different. I do need to start braking. Be screaming onto this thing. And it doesn't quite fit, as we know. So we've got to back up just a little more. Right there. Whoop, probably too much. I did notice that it will kind of correct itself. As soon as we start moving it, we might see it jump a little bit. Now we're just gonna pick a direction. Doesn't matter which direction. We'll go this way. Yeah, right there. You just saw that the whole thing shift as it kind of got pushed around a little bit. That's fine. It's still on there. That front bogie is hanging off, of course, but we just allow it to glitch through. Wish they would make these things a little bit bigger to accommodate Beast, you know, the largest locomotive that we have available to us. Won't quite fit on here. Not visually, anyway. All right. Too far. What's nice is I can actually look right here since this is all completely straight. And I can just line it up right here. Looking right down at that wheel. Right there. And that's perfectly aligned. Yay. Alright, oop, I do need to run up here and flip this switch. Someone did put in the comments that I should put some sort of indicator like the fast forward symbol or something when doing time lapses, make it a little less confusing. So that's why you're seeing that. I didn't get a screenshot of that comment, but you know who you are. I do appreciate it. I never thought about that, but it would help. And if it's annoying to some, well, I'm sorry. It does make sense since I use a lot of the same audio from slowed down sections, I guess, but I don't like to make it sound like a chipmunk train or something. Alright, that should be far enough. Bang, that was really hard. Are we still on the track? Still on the track. Alright. That's a little slight downhill. I was going a little fast. Turn all the brakes off. Alright, let's get going here. We'll go reverser forward. Brake off. Give it some juice. She's a heavy train. But Beast should be able to handle it, and it's mostly downhill. Alright, let's take a look at another question. Alright, this question comes from N. Ames again. Thank you very much. Question about who you are. You sound a bit older. Don't take offense. Without giving away your age, how are you? No, without giving away your age, are you older? Myself, I'm in my early 20s. Just curious. Thanks. So I kind of butchered your question there. To answer your question, yeah, I'm a little bit older, I would say, than probably more people that like to play video games. I grew up as a gamer. I played NES, Mario Brothers, you know, that sort of thing. I actually had an Atari when I was in my very young ages. But I would say, without giving away my age, that I'm between 38 and 40, somewhere in that range. So, you know, take it for what it is. Though I'm a kid at heart, I try to, you know, have fun and do what I like to do. So, yeah, I'm getting older and I have a family and everything, but, you know, I'm still a kid. So, thanks for the question. Next question. Alan Jones says, question, YouTube seems to come naturally to you. You have another gaming channel, or is this your first time YouTubing? Well, I did have a YouTube channel. I think it might be still active. I don't know. I haven't used it or even looked at it in a long time. I didn't have any subscribers, maybe one or two, and that's probably like my mom. But no, not to this level. And by this level, I mean I actually have thousands of views and hundreds of subscribers already. And no, this is my first time. But thank you. Yeah, it's something that I actually do enjoy, I found. And I'm looking forward to doing more with the channel and engaging more of my audience. I really like engaging with you, which is why when I heard about this idea, again, I apologize for whoever gave me the idea. I don't remember. I jumped at the chance and I put it out there because I do really enjoy doing this kind of stuff. And it did cost me some money to get a microphone set up and start making content. I had to get an editor. I had to learn how to edit because I don't know any of that. I started watching YouTube videos, and the editor that I use is Adobe Premiere Pro, which has a monthly subscription. So it cost me some money to learn how to do it, but I actually do enjoy doing it. I did take a filming class in high school way back in the day, but we didn't really have computers back then for editing, so I really don't know what I'm doing yet with editing, but I'm learning, and that's all part of the experience for me anyway. You get to watch some good content. I get to play the game and make videos and edit them, and you learn YouTube. And I don't know anything about YouTube as far as how their algorithms work or anything like that. But I'm learning, and I did learn that hitting that like button does actually help out quite a bit. Sharing the video helps out, and commenting really seems to help out as well. It gets the videos more recognized and recommended to others. So thanks for the kind words there, Alan. So this question comes from the Gaming Hero? Perio? Something like that. I'm so sorry. We got to get going here. Get off the break. So this question says, do you have a model railroad? And the answer to that question is yes, I do. I do have a couple, actually, though it's nothing like what I've seen other people have. What I have is actually from a very dear friend of mine whose grandfather gave him a model railroad from the 1940s. And maybe I'll throw up a picture here if I can go dig it out. I don't have a track set up or anything like that. I have all the stuff. I just don't have really space to set it up. So my child has a couple of toy model railroads, and we like to play with those and that sort of thing. So I've had model railroads set up. I've played with them. I've used them. I think they're a bucket of fun. But currently I just have the stuff. I just need to find the space and the time to set it up and play with it. So thanks for the question. So this one comes from Names again. Thank you. Question: are you going to continue to play and produce content of this game after you reach the final industry? Many people seem to quit there and move on to another game. What are your thoughts? Well, I don't know. And that's my honest answer, is I simply just don't know yet. I would like to continue playing this. I think it'd be fun, especially if they continue to upgrade the game with new industries, new locomotives, new routes, that sort of thing. I think that would continue my gameplay of this game. If they do that or not, maybe I'll continue to play it. Maybe not as much. Maybe I'll pick up another game if one is recommended, and continue to play just casually, maybe once a month or something like that. Just kind of log in and maybe produce a video or something like that. But we're still a ways off of that. I would like to continue playing with this for the foreseeable future. I don't have any plans to stop playing anytime soon. So thanks for the question. So this question comes from XComfyBX. Question: do you plan on starting a dedicated server for people to join in the future? I would love to. I would love to have 32 players, counting myself, playing this game, running multiple trains, and doing a lot of the switching, the rail yard switching duties, and coordinating and that sort of thing. I think that would just be a bucket of fun. But I don't have the internet to do that. So, as I previously stated, so unfortunately, for the time being, no, not yet. But I do upload, and I try to keep the website, the Miserwig or something like that, updated, so you can download this map and play on it for yourself. And please do. It's awesome, I think. So yeah, unfortunately, for the time being, right now, no, I cannot have a dedicated server. I wish I could. This question comes from a Spastic Cube. He says, I'm almost caught up. I don't have a question. I didn't have a question yesterday, but I do now. Question: If you had a second world save that you could do experiments on using that cheat, that would pretty much give you as much money. Here's actual question. What experiments would you do? So I do experiments, and usually it's around like with building it. Oh, why am I braking? Usually it's around building rail track and that sort of thing. And it's usually like just laying some groundwork down and then taking a look at it. And if I like it or not, then I keep it. So have I thought about using another save file and using the cheat tool to experiment? No, not really. I don't really see the need in it, but you know, maybe it would have eliminated some issues early on, I think, with trying to find routes and that sort of thing. Like you said, with the removal of trees, because now I can come back in and have the route where I wanted it to. We're going really fast. That would suck to derail right here. But like, yeah, we wouldn't have like this issue that we have up here with like, we got a big clearing. You know, the trees would just come back and I would know exactly where to build the track. But that would also mean doing things, you know, on two different save files, and I'd probably get them screwed up anyway. So no, not really. Thank you for the question though. Kind of along a similar line, I guess. And Ames asked me for another question. He said, question, how often do you play without recording it? Quite a bit, honestly. Like when I did all these runs down here, bringing down the cordwood and building track and fixing track and that sort of thing, I'd do that all without recording it. And even now, like when I'm loading the trains and that sort of thing, I just turn off the recording. It's mostly due to file size stuff, and that's because my computer doesn't have the biggest hard drive, and it takes a lot of memory, a lot of space to have these recordings. And so as soon as I'm done stitching them together and making the final product, I delete them all and I upload the thing to YouTube, the final result to YouTube. So to answer the question, probably 40% of gameplay doesn't make it to YouTube, either because I edited it out or I simply don't have it being recorded. Sometimes, like when I was running the cordwood down here, it was just for fun, and I didn't feel like recording it. Please don't take offense. I just didn't feel like recording and talking. So thanks for the question, though. Next question comes from Names again. Question: in editing, how do you know what to cut and what to keep? You cut things that might be important, go back and change something and edit it in. Yeah, actually I do. I cut quite a bit, like I was just saying. But sometimes I'll do something and I'll be like, that was really cool, but I didn't capture it. So I'll reset everything and then capture it again like it was the first time I'm doing it. That's only happened a number of times, maybe 2 or 3 times since I started capturing the content. So yeah, I mean, sometimes things happen. So we got a break. Okay, get off the brake. Roll just a little bit. I want to get this third one maybe on there. Still rolling. It looks like it might be on there. That'd be a good spot. All right, let's get this offloaded. Yep, that'll fit. Little arrow kind of helps. All right, I think we're unloaded now. Yep. All right, let's pull it forward and to the next one. Of course, it's going to be using this iron ore immediately because we do have cordwood and we have space to make products. So 42 out of 1,000 so far. So I don't know about running another route. So let's take a look, see how many more questions we got. All right, this next question comes from Alan Jones. He says, question, do you watch others on YouTube? If so, who? Let's take a look at the rails. We got 100 there, and we still have 100 of those. So to answer your question, Alan, on my other YouTube channel, I guess my Gmail account that I used for watching YouTube before this channel was created, I got Con Gaming on there. I got Brad Owen. I do like to play poker. Brandon Herrera, Doug Poker, This Old Tony, Donut Operator. Let's see, we got the History Guy, Not a Rubicon Productions, Johnny's Reloading Bench, Twin Stick Garage, Colin Muir, Demolition Ranch, Air Force Proud 95, Warrior Poet Society, My Mechanics, Lockpicking Lawyer, History Buffs, VAS Aviation, Jack Spear Co., Chris Fix, Armed Scholar, Tesla Daily. We got Project Farm, Gavin Tube, The Warthog Project, Watch West Work, Casual Navigation. Let's see, we got the Farm Sim Guy, 3D Printed Life, the 3D Printing Zone, Chep. Those are my 3D printer channels. How to Barbecue Right. Got the Wisdom of Odin, Kilo Restoration, Samson Boat Co. Gosh, I got Nick Boner, Bohner. Not even sure what his channel is, but I'm subscribed to him. Cowboy Kent Rollins, Mad Scientist Barbecue. Got Tactical Bassin and Roland Martin Outdoors. Those are my fishing ones, I think. A-Bomb 79. Let's see, got How to Drink. I like his channel, it's pretty fun. Liberty Doll, Tony's Tractor Adventures. And that's the channels like that. So those are just some of the people that I'm subscribed to myself. And of course I'm subscribed. I'm the first subscriber to this channel. So, but I don't like or comment them just because I don't think that's fun or anything like that. So thank you for the question. I do watch a little bit of Railroads Online from other content creators, though I actually haven't spent a lot of time on YouTube here recently because I'm finding that I'm playing a lot more and editing and that sort of thing, and that kind of takes away from my YouTube time. I do get to watch YouTube while I'm at work, but usually those are like mind-numbing kind of channels where I just watch, like there's one channel here, it's called Rail Cowgirl. It's a live stream, 24/7 kind of live stream of a railroad in Norway, and I just kind of have it up and just kind of half pay attention to it as I'm working at work. So my job does, it's kind of fun that I get to do that when I'm actually sitting at a computer. I get a mix of driving around and working outside and that sort of thing, and working in the office, working at a computer. So when I'm at the computer, I like to have that kind of up on a different monitor where I can watch and that sort of thing. Thanks for the question. Next question. So this question again comes from N Ames. It says, question, what kind of software do you use for screen recording and editing? How long does it take you for this video, as an example? I think this one came from the latest upload when we did part 2 of getting up to the coal mine. So the recording software that I use is called OBS, and I honestly don't remember what that stands for, but it seems to work pretty well. The editing software again is Adobe Premiere Pro, and then that's really about it. I use Canva. I think that's how you pronounce it, for the thumbnails. So I'll take a screenshot, and which I didn't do on this one, unfortunately. I completely forgot to take a screenshot, and I use Canva to make the thumbnails. So for that video, to edit it together, that one took me about 2 or 3 hours to edit it together. Now, I'm not the greatest editor. I don't do things quickly, and I screw up a lot, so I have to redo a lot of things. Again, I'm still learning, so I'm hoping that the editing and everything will get better as I progress through learning how to do it. So thanks for the question. Next question. All right, this one comes from Alan Jones. He says, question, do you have any real life experience working around the railroad? Yes and no. So my dad actually grew up, he's a railroader. He's my stepdad, and he was a high railer. When my mom first met him, he was track maintenance, and his job was actually working on a tie gang, and they were replacing ties. And he moved up from there to running what's called a regulator, and that's when I started going to work with him. I think that's what he did on the tie gang too, but his job then was basically to put the ballast back up onto the ties using a machine, and then it had a big broom on it that would sweep the top of the ties clear of gravel, and obviously the track as well. You don't want rocks and stuff up on the rail. So he did that for a number of years, and then right before retirement, like the last 7 or 8 years or so, he drove a pickup down the track, and he would look for issues and that sort of thing, and he would actually grease the track as well. He'd put beads of grease through his pickup on the inside of the rail, especially on turns. Like he would go to the outside of the inside rail, or rather the inside of the outside rail, like right there, and he would put in a bead of grease right along there. So when the trains would come by, it would limit or reduce the amount of wear. So there is grease on the rails, and he was responsible for putting it on there. So I got to ride with him quite a bit in that pickup, and it was kind of fun to do that. It was pretty neat. So that's pretty much my only real experience around the railroad. I've ridden on some locomotives, some steam locomotives, but I've never actually driven a train myself or anything like that. So thanks for the question. Let's take another one. All right, and this is the last question I think we have. This question comes from Randy Weiss. He says, I think I'm getting addicted to watching these Railroad Online videos. Thumbs up. Well, thank you very much, Randy, and I do enjoy making them, so please continue watching. And I believe that's going to do it for this episode of Railroads Online. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider hitting that thumbs up button. It really does help out. And if you have any more questions, please do the question colon thing. That helps me find them out of the comments. And we'll do this again in the future. I did have a lot of fun just running some trains and answering your questions. So if you can think of any more questions, feel free to ask. I'm open to answering just about anything and everything. Thank you again so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye for now.